My man Austin, what is up, my brother? How you doing?
I'm doing really well, man. It's been a good week, but even better. I'm just glad to be alive, man. God is good.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So my first question is, obviously, I know we've been working together for a minute, and you've been implementing everything, get some amazing results, which we'll get into.
Yeah.
Before we dive into that, though, um, tell everybody like what you do first and foremost,
Sure.
and I think most importantly, why do you do what you do?
Okay. Absolutely. I can keep it pretty straightforward. I help professional service firms, especially in the financial services space, automate their growth. And I do it for a reason. When we think about people who become experts in
Hmm.
accounting and whatever it is that has to do with the finances, they had to get certifications, XYZ. All
Hmm.
those certifications are great, but none of them teach you how to sell. So they've got the right expertise, but no pipeline.
Ah.
And when even if they've been in the industry for 20 years, referrals are their lifeblood. And they're like,
Mm.
I want to grow, but I can't predict that I'm going to get 10 referrals next month or one.
Yeah.
But the why is really driven in kind of how my career started. I started at like the highest level of consulting, working. I always use the example of when Target wonders, what do we do about Amazon? How do we stay in business with someone like that at our neck? They hire one of the three consulting firms, Bain, McKinsey, or BCG.
Hmm.
And back in 2014, they were paying a group of five or six members $500,000. They were paying $500,000 a month for five or six people to come out and figure out that core strategy problem, the data, the flows, all of it. I took that, went to real estate, started understanding government stuff, got an MBA and all that. But what I've seen is at every level, they have a pipeline problem. At government, for small business, for non-figure businesses, everybody has a pipeline problem, or at least wants to solve that pipeline problem with a predictable process. And so when you tie that to like the life events that are layered over my entrepreneurial journey, that's the why. And that has to do like with the close law. So we can get into that if you want to.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So it's interesting you brought up because I saw on your bio that you was with Bain and Company, which I didn't know.
Mhm.
And I saw that. So I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, if somebody wanted to hire like because I told people I was having a conversation, I was speaking somewhere or something, I forget exactly what I was doing. And I was
Mhm.
like, Strategic Scale Institute, we not wanted to, we want to take McKinsey level consulting
Mhm.
be able to provide it to small business owners. Because like
Mhm.
to your point, I was talking to somebody who worked at a the power company and they hired McKinsey and they paid I think $1 million for 6 months. And it was literally just consulting. It was literally just what to do. It wasn't any do it for you. It wasn't we're gonna come in and do anything. It's like, no, it's $1 million just for us to come in and look at your business,
Yep.
see what you do, point out the holes, and then you got to go hire somebody or take somebody internally to actually go do it. And it's like most
Mhm.
small business owners can't drop $1 million for 6 months of just consulting. So I was like, we want to bring that level of consulting though to the small business world. So it's awesome that you mentioned that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Good stuff. Good
Mhm.
stuff.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you this: before you came on board and started working with us, like, what were you? What? How was like? How was things already going? Like, what were some frustrations and things you was already dealing with that actually made you come over and start working with us?
Oh, I tell everybody, I have paid Markwell more than once. Why? Because the first time I wasn't actually ready as a business owner, right? So this whole getting clients online thing, I started doing it on my own in 2017 when I took the consulting mindset. I was, I think, flipping houses at the time. And I
Hmm.
realized this process hadn't been categorized, systematized, and the information in it was pretty much out there in seminars, but wasn't organized. So I
Hmm.
took that knowledge, put it into a program, and started selling it online. I'm like, well, I don't know how to go get the customers. And posting on social media was, I mean, it was fine back then. You used to get more than 5 likes. Instagram wasn't throttling views so much, but still, it
Hmm.
was hard to get that visibility without having a process. And so that was the first time I kind of worked with your organization. But even then, I was still focused on kind of doing my thing. I had a partner at the time we were working with, and I really didn't dive into the information. Um, it was helpful, and I found myself diving into it 3 years later, I believe, when I was
Hmm.
spinning up a different form of taking a process, documenting it, and making sure that a person that is not a nine-figure business owner can understand it and get to that 8 and 9 figures. That's when I dove back into the information I had bought, what, 2, 3 years prior.
Hmm.
You take that journey. I graduate from business school and I'm seeing hundreds of business owners across the country. I'm still selling my services, but I'm doing so kind of with a split. mindset. I'm still kind of dedicated towards some high level advisory stuff outside of this business. And when I decided to go all in on it, I'm like, I need to know how stuff works now versus how it worked in 2018. And just like I know, they're going to change the algorithm, change the buttons you click and all that. So I don't mind paying again for the most recent information as opposed to having to spend hours and hours trying to go and figure it out. And so frankly, I paid it from the beginning of this business as opposed to going through the motions of getting things wrong first and then going and paying somebody to give you the right information. I tell people all the time, I'm the easiest sale when it comes to this kind of stuff because I don't need to guess about it. I want to know.
You and me both, bro. You and me both. How did you initially find us? I think I remember, but I want to make sure because I was thinking about it earlier. How did you initially find us?
I saw your ads back in 27. As soon as I became an entrepreneur, I started seeing your ads. I put it that way.
Ah,
So yeah, back in 2017, and then came to an event. I'm not sure if we paid. I don't think it was a free event first. I think we paid and then came to a clients only event. That's the first time we met in person. But I think, yeah, I think that was 2018, 2019 timeframe. Getting old, so I'm
got it.
trying to remember.
Got it. And what was it that you saw that made you say, all right, because obviously there's many
Hmm.
proposed options on the internet, right? And there's more and more popping up every single day.
Hmm.
What would you say? What would you say is the thing that jumped out to you? I mean, you're obviously a savvy business owner, right? So
Hmm.
what made you say, all right, these are my guys. I'm rocking with them out of all the other proposed options.
So interestingly enough, a lot of people, especially kind of when you get to higher levels of business, they talk so that they can sound smart and they try to disguise information or at least make it seem like they're the only people that can execute.
Mm,
But the way that I understand things is I have to simplify it in order to understand it, and then I can teach it.
right.
So it was really that the information was being not oversimplified, but was being made digestible and
Mhm.
being put in a platform that was digestible enough to be able to be executed upon. And then my family's from Louisiana, but I was born in the city of Atlanta, right? So the fact that you were in Atlanta, the fact that I've seen a bunch of folks in suits that have not gotten the results that you've gotten, and
Mm.
frankly, so my dad's a pastor on Campbellton Road, right? So the
Ah,
people that I grew up around, this looked familiar. And so it wasn't just familiarity based on, okay, you got lack of results, but I'm gonna support my brother. It was like this guy's out here crushing it, has a wall of proof, which you is what you called it.
mhm.
And I kept seeing people who I knew before they worked with you, and then knew after they worked with you, and saw the difference.
Mm.
And so just that combination of things. One, it was relatable. Two, you had pierced through what would be the perceived barriers based on how you decide to show up, and then had been able to document, hey, here's who I am, and here's why I don't really care if you don't like me. You can't argue with the facts, and you can't argue with the results.
I
And
love it.
that was appealing.
I love it. So you just gave me something. You just gave me a framework, right? Relatable, results or receipts, and repetition.
Hmm.
I love it. It's crazy how my brain works. I love it. I love it. So let's talk about results, right? So you came
Yeah.
on board, whatever you open to share. So since you came on, you've been implementing the process. I was just telling you
Hmm.
before we started. I was like, dude, you are like we're like brothers, right? You like me. Like when you take a process, you implement this joint to the T. And I
Hmm.
was telling you, like, you stand in my news feed. I'm seeing the process. Me and you was kind of nerding out a little bit about some tweaks that you made,
Hmm.
which is great. And I know you were telling me about some of your results that we was talking on the coaching call the other day.
Hmm.
But I love the fact that you're coachable, you implement the process, and it's like that's very, very exciting. So now, and obviously we get the best results with individuals who are like you, who are willing to actually do the thing, right? So
Hmm.
so what would you talk? So what are some of the results? Like how has your life and business changed since coming on board to work with us and applying the processes?
I'll put it like this. Um, it is an engine that works. And so when you ask about how life has changed, posting organically and building a following is a long-term way to build a healthy following, but it takes longer to get your results usually.
Mm,
And so knowing that before I kind of transitioned into doing this like full time and putting my full focus on it, I was like, let me just try and see kind of if I put this stuff out there, can I get the right folks? And then consistently, it was the wrong folks, the folks that needed to wait, or people who really didn't understand fully before having the conversation what it was that I could even offer. And so it just became clearer and clearer. Hey, just go back to the process where you got an entire ecosystem of information where you can educate that client before they talk to you. And even after they talk to you, the fact that you've got so much proof on the back end, they can go check you out after y'all talk or before they even book their call. Like that whole process just made sense to me. And so the difference is having an empty calendar because I was busy and wasn't like ready for a full calendar to last Monday and Tuesday, I had 17 calls. Um, and I'm like, first of all, I'm like, I'm not doing that again because it's just tiring. But being able to create that predictability and then able to show clients when I'm on literally when I'm on calls now, I'm like, hey, look, in the past two, let me not tell you what I heard works. I will open up the back end of my Facebook and you can see what the cost per book call is.
Mhm.
So that proof is just hard to compete with. And so when you think about what has changed, it's having that leverage, having that predictability, having the opportunity to pull from the market when you want to, and scale up or scale down as you choose, and being able to demonstrate to your clients, hey, this is what works and this is what works now, not what worked 5 years ago.
I love it. I love it. I know you was like, I know when we started, you was like somebody, another person you talked to, reached out and was like, "Hey, I'm ready to go ahead and get started."
hmm Yep, this morning. And I was telling you about the difference between the different segments, one that has recurring revenue and they generally are more prepared to pay, and one that has revenue in chunks but inconsistent revenue, and so they sometimes need to wait in order to join. But I think it's even helping me believe even more in doubling down on that segment. 'Cause I'm like they need the help, they've got the resources, and they are ready to execute. But yeah, just this morning I got an email and a text message from the person. They are literally hunting me down to figure out a way. Hey, where can I send the money? And
I love it.
that's great.
I love it. And then your average price points to work with you is around like what?
So we've got three levels. It's 12K, 25, and 50. All right.
Like
Obviously, they make it an incentivization benefit if they knock it all out at once versus if they need to split. But yeah, that's what our levels are.
nice. And then what would you say? Because I know we've been talking about ads a little bit, and I know sometimes people are a little gun shy when it comes to ads. And I've been hearing people say, "Man, ads ain't working how they used to work," and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know what platform y'all talking about. I'm like, these things are still performing, and I think that's why the principles are so powerful because
hmm
it's like we're still getting similar results like 10 years ago when it comes to
hmm
like running a specific play. So what would
hmm
you say? And again, you don't got to share all your revenue and all that. But what would you say on
hmm
average for like every dollar you put into ads? On average, what are you saying on the outside of it?
I mean, if we count today, it's like a 13 to 14 what's called ROAS, return on ad spend. So you put a dollar into the system. It's not that and this is what I have to explain to folks. It's not that you put $1 in and then you hit $14 show up in your account the next day. It's instead if you average out kind of the performance of how much you spend over a period of time and you look at how much you've made from it,
Yeah.
that's where that number comes from. But yeah, those are the numbers as of now, and that's after what I turned this on what six weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. When I said, hey, let me go ahead and knock this out and do it full time. Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, crazy. And like
Mm-hmm.
me, you was talking about on the call the other day, is like, and I've said this over and over again, there's no better asset class that's going to get you. You can do real estate, you can do stocks, you can do all the different things, and all these things are great. But it's like in six, where could you go put your money, and in 6 weeks get a 13x on your money, like, and it's sustainable and it's controllable and
Mm-hmm.
it's scalable, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's incredible. That's incredible. So I think last two questions I got for you is how this is probably gonna sound like a crazy question. Like how are you feeling about the results at this point, and like how do you feel like it's gonna impact the rest of your life and even the business going forward?
So I'll give you some brief context. I know we have to be direct or be concise. I'm feeling great about the results, but I'm always a person that like just in the same way that I say I'm an easy sale, right? When it comes to reinvesting, I am not trying. I don't need a trip to celebrate a payment. I'm like, I want to put this whole payment back into ad spend. I just need to make sure that I have the team members to handle these calls because I'm not having 9 calls a day.
Yep.
But as far as process is concerned, I'm very confident in the sustainability of these kinds of results. And it does one thing. So when I first started, the reason I even started in entrepreneurship is because my sibling and I graduated one day apart. I graduated from Morehouse and she graduated from law school. And then 6 months after starting at Bain, I lost my sister suddenly. And so I was there for another year and a half, but I determined at that point, even though we grew up upper middle class or early middle class, parents had done well, there was nobody in my life who could buy me time. And so the principles of how I operate are peace and shareable freedom. So if I got freedom, that's great. But if I can't share it with the people that I love, then that's a problem for me. And
Right.
so I decided then that that would be what I focused on as I built business, any business. And so this process allows me to get back into that mode where it's like, hey, I am able to predict the space that I will be in financially, and then also create opportunity for the people that I care about, or create even the cushion, the protection, the peace, right? The opportunity to even care for themselves based on the fact that this business is doing well and will continue to do well. And so that's how I feel about it. It might be a bit broader than the question, but that gives the
Good. I
context of
appreciate
how
it.
I feel about it.
No, that's good. That's good. That's good. And then last question, because I want to respect your time, is if there are some individuals who are listening right now,
Mhm.
they're considering working with us, what advice would you give them about working with us and the process as a whole? What advice would you give them for those who are listening?
I would say, one, absolutely do it. Do like if you add up all the things that you spend money on, or if you look at the fact that you might have gone to college and they couldn't necessarily point you to the same kind of results that Marquell and his team can, then consider this an investment that is one that can unlock a different future for you. But I would say when you show up, just do it like the ABCs. Don't like, especially if you're new to the space, don't try to pick and decide what parts you're going to execute on. Do all of it, and then you can iterate. But if you don't build all the parts, you won't know what's really not working. And so show up, execute, but execute from the beginning, right? And go through all the videos, all the modules, and implement all the steps. And then you can show up just like you have on those support calls and ask your questions about what can be improved after you've gotten all the steps knocked out. But yeah, definitely do it 100%.
I love it. I love it. Awesome, man. Thank you so much for jumping on, man. And by the way, I know I had a thought. So I know we need to have a sidebar conversation because it sounds like
Mhm.
at the point where it's like, all right, let's build out a sales team so we can actually impact more people. I got a partner I can actually, if you don't already have somebody, I can connect you with who can actually help begin to remove you from some of, the enrollment costs or all of it. So we can have a sidebar convo about that.
Sounds good. Sounds good, man. I
However,
appreciate you.
of course, of course. And so if you're watching this right now and you have a service-based business, you're a coach, consultant, or any kind of high-ticket service provider, agency or whatever, and you want to get more clients and you want more predictability, and you're like, okay, how can I put $1 into ads and get 13 or more? Now, I'm not making a guarantee that by you implement the process, you're going to get a 13, 14x on every dollar.
Hmm.
No, I'm not. But what I am
Hmm.
telling you and what I am guaranteeing you is that we're going to give you the same system and the same support that we provide Austin and thousands of other business owners. And of course, you get to choose what you do with it. So it'll be a link around here in the description or below this video or somewhere where you can schedule a chat or go get more details. And other than that, I appreciate you for watching and listening in, and we'll talk soon.